It's uncanny how often being a coach can mirror being a psychiatrist. Take, for example, a relationship with money. It very closely mirrors the relationship we had with our parents as kids, and that makes sense. As kids, our parents were our source of safety and security. And as adults, it's the money that arrives in the form of a corporate job that now offers us a source of safety and security. And sometimes, much like our childhood, that relationship can be very dysfunctional. So today we're going to talk about our relationship with money and hopefully how to move beyond those limiting beliefs and make more by deconstructing what we learned when we were young. And that way we can clear the clutter from our own path and become our own sense of security. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kristen. I'm a former attorney and tech exec turned executive career coach. I help mid to senior level corporate women get promoted and transition into work they love. And that oftentimes means addressing some limiting beliefs. Today, around money. Okay, today we are going to play a little game. I'm sure you have heard of 2 truths and a lie. Only today I'm going to divulge 1 truth and 3 lies about money. So I already alluded to this, but truth number 1, the relationship we had with our parents, especially from the critical age of 0 to 6, is going to mirror how we interact with money. Okay, so I know you have heard financial experts say things like, oh, did your parents say money doesn't grow on trees when you were a kid? You're going to need to unpack that. That creates limiting beliefs around money. But it goes a lot deeper than that. In fact, it is your relationship with your parents and whether or not you felt secured and loved and how you fit into the family that is going to determine your relationship around money, because money in the modern day and in this modern era is how we feel safe and secure. So let me share my own story as a way of an example. So I am the oldest daughter. I am one of 3. I have a younger sister and I have a younger brother. And I was held to a much higher standard than they were. And I know if there are any eldest daughters out there, they can completely relate to this. So for example, when my little brother turned 16, he was given a brand new Mustang. And it took literally an act of God for me to be able to borrow the car. I can remember one distinct time in high school, I was on the dance team, please don't judge me, and there was a basketball game and I had to perform and my parents were, I don't know where, but they were not available to drive me and I was over 16 and I had my driver's license, so I took the car in order to meet that obligation and I had hell rain down upon me for doing so. So I share that because there was this perfectionist standard that I was held to that was impossible to recreate. And then when I went out into the workforce, I found environments that were demanding, that were very shoot first and ask questions later. And by shoot first, I mean let's shoot Kristen first and ask questions later. There was not a sense of security, and I didn't have that at home growing up. But also, I acted as a perfectionist. And I beat myself up when things went wrong, including if the team was responsible, I took responsibility and I held myself to this bar that was unreachable. And it was through therapy and through coaching and through personal development work that I allowed myself to shed this persona and to show up more authentically. And that means being a lot less critical of myself. So I share this because our family of origin lays our foundation with money and our self-view. It's definitely worth exploring the messaging you received when you were young about money and about work and about how you showed up. If any of this resonates with you, I'm going to link a video I made earlier about healing trauma in the description below, because this is really our foundation and we're going to want to unpack this before we're able to move forward in making more money. Okay, so now on to the lies. So number 1 lie I heard as a child was be loyal to your company, spend your 40 years there, and get your gold watch. That might have been true in the day, but the day is dead. Not only do corporations not have a duty of care to their employees, but the duty of care lies with the shareholders. And while these interests are not mutually exclusive, you can bet that a C-level employee is going to sacrifice you in order to ensure the stock price. And I hate giving you this message because I know your work is personal to you and you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, but I need you to understand that either you or your entire team can be cut in an instant if it is deemed to not make enough money or not good for shareholders. Even if it's just a perception and not an actual fact. And I do want to distinguish the difference between being loyal to people, to an individual versus a company, the company being higher up the chain, namely the C-suite or senior VP positions where the stock price will impact their job, but not yours. Always be loyal to individuals who are loyal to you. Keep those relationships because your network is going to be one of your most important assets moving forward. But never forget, the company and the person are two different things. Lie number 2, a job equates to security. Now, I know our parents told us to go and be loyal to a company for 40 years and collect our pension and gold watch because that was job security back in the day. However, in our modern hyper-capitalistic society, that just doesn't exist. In fact, in our modern economy, if you live long enough, you will be laid off. So it's not something you should fear. It's actually something you should expect. If you expect it, you can prepare for it, and preparation is half the battle. At a job I previously had about 10 years ago, I worked for a company that would systemically lay people off every 2 years. They just merely pick a different department. And oftentimes it was right around Thanksgiving or Christmas. So you can only imagine what that did to company culture. It's not something you want to be a part of. The other truth around this is that by staying loyal to a job is you're going to, on average, receive a 4 to 6% increase. But by job hopping and moving more frequently, you are often giving yourself a raise of 10 to 20% each time you take a new position. So the best way to make more money is to bet on you and not the corporation. Keep your resume current, network on a consistent basis, and apply to jobs of interest. Even if you don't have an intention of taking it, it can always be used as leverage for a pay increase. And if you are laid off or you ever need to find a role quickly, you will be prepared and your skills will be up to par. Line number 3, that someone will promote you. They will take an interest in you, they will see your potential, and they will take you under their wing. And yes, this absolutely could happen, but in our modern hyper-capitalistic world, this is becoming rarely the case. More often, people are focused on how we're going to close the quarter, and there's a collective mentality of every person for him or herself. And I don't mean to sound like a sad Sarah, but this is especially true if you are a woman. A 2022 study found that women were not deemed to be a flight risk as often as men, and therefore they were more likely to be taken for granted. Now, you can combine this with the subconscious bias known as prove it again, which states that men are seen for their potential while women are seen for their accomplishments, and not merely accomplishing something once, but accomplishing it over and over and over again. Prove it again. And if you think having a woman for a boss is going to help, I can attest that it does not. A lot of women are scared to promote another woman because they think it will be seen as favoritism. Men would never ever consider this an issue. So that was depressing and exhausting. But what should we do instead? Well, first, take advantage of therapy, coaching, personal development, especially if it's on the company dime. Understanding your limiting beliefs will allow you to heal them, and that will propel you towards a healthy environment in which you're allowed to thrive. Keep networking and keep your resume up to date. I have a whole series of videos on finding a new job, even in a bad economy. So I'm going to start by linking that video below. And finally, bet on you. When I was laid off 10 years ago, I decided to bet on me by opening my own consultancy, and it was the best thing I ever did. Yeah, it was terrifying. I'm going to be really honest about that. Entrepreneurship is not for the meek, but it gave me so much. It allowed me to develop new skills. I was able to study topics of interest that I never would have learned on my previous job. And it eventually led me to my last corporate position, which was amazing. I had a supportive boss and a supportive skip level. I got to do interesting work and work with the best team ever. I got to travel internationally, manage a global team. It was a huge upgrade. And that never would have happened if I hadn't taken the few years to open my own consultancy and bet on me. So trust the universe, trust yourself, listen to your intuition, and understand how great you are. Did you like this video? If so, would you like, share, and subscribe? I would be so grateful. My intention with this channel is to grow a community of helpful and kind and like-minded individuals so we can navigate corporate America together. I come out with new videos each week, and until then, take care.